Hello class and welcome to Chapter 5. In this lecture we're going to be talking about the product life cycle and product marketing mix. So let's get started. The product marketing mix is something that you should have heard of by now. In your introductory to marketing class you should have talked about what's called the 4 P's. The product, price, place, and promotion. The 4 P's represent 4 components or variables of a product offering that a company would provide to its customers. And specifically, each component is completely underneath the organization's control. How they want to develop that component, what product features they want to have, what price they want to list it at. Each component has an effect on how the customer will respond to your particular product, how they'll react to it. So let's take a quick look at these. I'm not going to spend much time on it because once again, this should be a review for you. So under product, we're referring to things like the product quality, the features, options, style, brand name, packaging, the size that the product actually is, services that are offered with the product, the warranties. All of those items fall underneath the product category. When it comes to place, we're talking about the channels, the coverage, the locations where it's sold, the inventory. Now channels, we're talking about the physical locations where the product is being sold at. When it comes to promotion, this is what most people think of when it comes to marketing. We're discussing advertising, personal selling, sales promotion, publicity, PR would fall underneath that as well. And price, we're talking about anything that goes along with determining what the product should cost. So the list price, discounts, allowances, credit terms that you may offer to people who are buying the product, all those items fall underneath the price. When it comes to developing the best-selling product possible, you want to look at optimizing each component of the marketing mix. And sometimes that takes time to figure that out. It takes market research, it takes a lot of sensitivity to understanding how each little change affects the customer demand for your product or service. Next, let's talk about the product life cycle. This should also be a review for you as well. There are 4 common stages to the product life cycle: introduction, growth, maturity, and decline. As you can see from the slide here, the green line indicates the amount of sales that you could expect with your product depending on the stage in the life cycle. So when we're in the introduction phase, we have very low sales. In this stage, actually, you have high costs because we had all the development costs that went into the product. We have high margins because we're charging a high price for the product. There's nothing else out there on the market like it. So because of that, the demand is strong and there's very little competition out there, we can charge higher prices. And you see that companies do this to try to recoup as quickly as possible all the money they put into the research and development part. High innovation, you're the market leader, once again, because there's not very much competition that's out there. The next stage we have is growth stage. In this stage, you can see the product demand is growing. So the product is becoming more mainstream. In the introduction phase, you have a lot of people that are early adopters who are picking up the product. They're willing to pay that higher price to get that brand new product. They're the early adopter out there first getting their product. Well, in the growth, in the maturity stages, the product is much more mainstream. The product features have been tested. You have more competition that's coming into the marketplace. So as you can see from the green line, sales are continuing to increase, but so is competition. When I say sales, we're referring to sales as an aggregate for the entire industry. So now we have more competition that's getting in there. When you have more competition, you have more supply that's going into the marketplace, which means that there's a downward pressure on price. So you'll start seeing that the price that we're selling the product for begins to decline in this stage. The amount of competitors coming into the marketplace begins to increase, and the amount of money put into research and development for developing new novel features and functionalities to your product, that begins to reduce as well. We're in now competition mode. The next stage is maturity. This is where the product is mature. So even those who are late adopters are now adopting the product. The technology is definitely tested, is considered commonplace, and then the last stage is decline. This is where the product sales begin to reduce. And the product will eventually phase out unless the company can find a way to jump back to the innovation phase by maybe introducing in new product features, new attributes, and finding a way to breathe new life into this existing product category. This is the product life cycle. If you have any questions, please bring them to class or shoot them to me in an email. That wraps it up for this lecture. Thank you. And as always, if you have any questions, shoot me an email. Thank you, and don't forget to study.